Hey, hope you're all doing well with any obsessive, scary thoughts that you have. So there's two things I'm going to introduce today. The first is peripheral vision. So this goes along with, if you remember the grounding, the five things you can see, four things you can touch, three things that you hear, two things that you smell, one thing you can taste, that we did way near the beginning. So this is kind of a shortened, modified version of it, and it's called peripheral vision. So you just focus on a point in front of you and you just start to name things you can see out the corners of your eyes. So I see wrapping paper. Over there, I see a lamp. Over there, I see a printer. Over that way, I see a filing cabinet. Over that way, I see another lamp. So again, it's bringing you out of the past, away from the future, and kind of into the present. Um, the other thing is just using your imagination, and when it brings you into the present. And so the other skill, if you have a great imagination, I've worked with kids for years. I've told you I'm also a professional magician. So not only have I done shows, but I have invented several magic tricks that other magicians use around the world. So I have a good imagination. So this is one that's always worked well for me. And I was just working on a certain shuffle, but you're gonna pick an object, and what you're gonna do is create a story. And so the cards that I have, it's a bicycle deck. Bicycle's been around for about 400 years. I don't, this is a short deck. It's not even a full deck, but this is a special deck, and it's one that I inherited from my uncle, who's also a magician, who bought his grandfather had bought at some auction, like back in the late 1800s, and so these cards actually go back to George Washington and the early people, Thomas Jefferson, that wrote the Declaration of Independence. So Thomas Jefferson wrote that, and there was a lot of controversy in leadership whether or not that the Declaration of Independence would even be signed, and if the United States would ever even exist. And so it actually came down to where they just couldn't agree. And Thomas Jefferson was a gambling man, and John Hancock, who also signed the Declaration of Independence, he put the biggest name, was a gambling man, and they were on opposite sides. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, wanted to sign it. John Hancock didn't want to have anything to do with it, was kind of happy under England law and that sort of thing. But they're both gambling men. They couldn't agree. So they just decided, hey, let's do it with cards. We'll cut the cards. Whoever cuts the highest card will win. And Thomas Jefferson agreed. If John Hancock wins, I'll tear this thing up and we'll forget about it. John Hancock said, you know what? If I win, or if you win, I'll sign that thing, and I'll sign it bigger than everybody else. And so there was that agreement. And first was John Hancock, and he pulled out a 5. And the next one to go was Thomas Jefferson, and that doesn't work. He pulled out a 10, so Thomas Jefferson had won. So here it is. This 10 of spades is the reason why the United States exists today. Because Thomas Jefferson pulled that, John Hancock agreed to sign the Declaration of Independence. Everybody else signed, started a Revolutionary War, and now we have the freedoms we enjoy today. All right, so what part of that story is true? Absolutely nothing. I was making it up as I went along. I have no idea how long bicycle cards have gone around. I assume John Hancock wanted the Declaration of Independence, which is why he signed it so big. But in that story, as I was thinking, as I was going along, I wasn't focused on the past. I wasn't worried about the future. I was just thinking, what is so special, or what can I make these cards represent? So if you look around your room, you're in a strange place, find a painting on the wall, find a little object sitting on your table. In your imagination, just create the most bizarre story about it. It's a fun thing to do. It'll lower your anxiety, and those sort of things, and can bring about a lot of peace. So if you have a good imagination, I think you'll like this one. If not, just move on to one of the other ones. But good luck with it, and can't wait to hear what you came up with.